Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Your Big Music Moment. Coming at you every day, 5 p.m. Pacific. Big Music is an artist friendly company that is a home for artists, and especially in these times, we feel that it is crucial to a burgeoning and functioning and holistic society to give artists of all stripes, all sizes, and all backgrounds a strong voice. And that's what we're doing here at Your Big Music Moment. Today, we are very lucky to have Mason Summit with us. So, without further ado, Mason, how are you, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're good, hanging
Thanks
in.
for having me again. Yeah,
Absolutely. We're really looking forward to hearing some music, and maybe just like last time, why don't we only just hit some music straight away, and then we'll have a chat afterwards.
sure. All right.
Awesome.
So these are two songs from my album that's coming out this Friday. These have not been released as singles, so kind of a sneak peek here. This one's called "Cause for Concern." I've got a front row seat just to watch my city burn. And you tell me there's no cause for concern. We walk on flaming coals past the point of no return. Still you tell us there's no cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. Oh, just sit back and let your stomach churn. There's no cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. 'Cause you never listen and I never learn. After so many missteps, I think you might have learned, but you assure me there's no cause for concern. Now if it's hell you come from, well I wish you would return. Give me one less cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. Oh, just sit back and let your stomach churn. There's no cause for concern. There's no cause for concern. 'Cause you never listen and I never learn. Now when the verdict's rendered and the courtroom is adjourned, well then we'll have no more cause for concern. If I tell myself enough times, one day I'll mean it in turn, and I'll have no more cause for concern. So that one's called Cause for Concern. I'm gonna grab this other guitar now. And this song is called More to Fear. Yeah, that's good enough for rock and roll. I ignored my every instinct. I went back there the next day. I fancied myself brave. Now stupid's what I'd say. Now I punish myself daily for the actions of a child. Me and that selfish fool have yet to reconcile. They say these are the best years of our lives. I hope that's just another of their lives. 'Cause if it's all downhill from here, we have so much more to fear. Now the man across the bar, he longs for his college years, before his friends got married and his belly showed the beard. Wonder, does he remember all those good times, how they were? Or do they just keep looking better as the pictures fade and blur? They say these are the best years of our lives. I hope that's just another of their lives. 'Cause if it's all downhill from here, we have so much more to fear. Well, if it's all downhill from here, if it's all downhill from here, we have so much more to fear. Put my headphones back on. That one's called More to Fear.
Wow, man, you are a bard of immense, beautiful points of view. I think
Thank
that
you.
there's that old soul comment. That I don't know if you've heard that before, but that's
I
really cool.
have. I appreciate it.
And and speaking of which, and speaking of your background, just why are you sitting here on a couch playing guitar for us so wonderfully, singing such poignant songs?
It's kind of like a. I never really had to juggle like figuring out what I wanted to do. You know, I had friends who switched their majors and who have so many divergent interests, like creative writing and science or something. But lucky for me, I guess I just don't have a lot of other interests. So usually that's kind of a downside, but it's just I'm so into like every aspect of the music
Yeah.
making process. I like to produce and I like to play a bunch of different instruments. Songwriting is kind of work, you know, but I like so many aspects of it that there was never really a question of doing something else, and I'm just lucky that I had a family and a community that was supportive of me doing something like going to school for that and growing up gigging in high school and taking lessons and that kind of thing. It's important to recognize that a huge reason of why I'm able to develop my interests is the privilege, you know, like the privilege of being in LA, of being in like a comfortable financial background, and culturally be surrounded by the arts. It was just I've been lucky enough to be in these circumstances where it's not like I was in Iowa and I had to move out to the big city. You
Right.
know, I'm living like 15 miles from where I grew up right now.
Yeah, you didn't go far from the nest. I mean, neither did I. I grew up in LA and lived there still. It does seem like a lot of artists, it comes from a singular focus and working from, bands like the Stones on down. They are truly musicians and artists. Obviously, those guys are the highest order, but they are constantly working and focused on their craft, and that it's not a means to an end. It is the end. So it sounds like that's the same with
Right.
you. Um,
Yeah, I miss live performance for sure.
yeah,
That's probably one of my favorite parts.
we
You
all
know, I would say,
miss seeing live performances
yeah,
as well.
right. Writing songs is probably the hardest part of it, you know,
Mm,
actually getting the songs.
yeah,
And then
and
after that, it's kind of the fun stuff.
yeah, they those songs live forever. So you got to get them. You got
Hopefully.
to get them
Yeah.
right. You got to get them right. Well, they do. It just depends on
Yes,
and
yes.
how many of our collective neurons do they get exposure.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, so you're about to release a new record, and I think we've got an exciting preview here of one of the tracks and,
Great.
and a music video. So tell us a little bit about that.
The video, so it's a song called Doomed from the Start, and it's the first song on my album. And I released it as a single on Valentine's Day. And I wanted to do a video for it, and I didn't want it to be a super literal kind of me just sitting somewhere nice playing it kind of thing. So I'm not in the video, but I was in this writing general education class in at USC, and the topic was horror fiction, and I ran into this kid from my class at the Aero Theater Horrorthon down in Santa Monica, something I go to every year around Halloween. There's this Dusk to Dawn horror movie
I know
marathon.
there.
Yeah, and it turns out that this guy in my class was in the film school at USC, and we had a really similar interest in terms of the horror kind of aesthetic that we liked. And so I had him kind of develop my initial concept of slasher, like individual kind of kids, not kids, but like young
Right.
people at a house getting picked off, kind of a classic slasher scenario. And then he did all the casting and the storyboard and the real filmmaking
So
stuff.
was the concept for the video, is that a part of the song lyrically, or was that something that kind of came after the song grew?
I
Uh,
wanted to take the concept and the title of Doomed from the Start and look at it through another lens instead
okay.
of looking at it as being about a relationship, which is more what it is about kind of circumstances that lead to the demise of a relationship that's kind of beyond either person's control. I wanted to take that concept of doom and fate and apply it to horror movie scenarios like The Final Girl, how there's everyone
Right.
one by one getting murdered and then there's one person left. And how oftentimes in these kind of horror movies and also in film noir, which is something that I love, it's just kind of this quicksand spiraling of one bad thing happening after
Yeah,
another, which is kind of like the times we live in.
it is.
So
Yeah, and the end of romantic relationships are often
Right.
a horror show in and of
Exactly.
themselves. Awesome. Well, let's check it out, and can't wait to see it.
Kelsey! Kelsey, come on! Kelsey! Kelsey, open the door!
Brad,
Kelsey!
stop.
What?
Chill.
Just wasn't over here, you know?
Hey guys.
What took you so long?
What are you guys waiting for? Let's get this party started.
I couldn't get all the electricity on you guys.
Don't worry, you look better in the dark anyways.
I don't know about this, Brad. This place kind of gives me the creeps.
Oh, come off it, Tiff. I'll protect you.
Neither your fault nor mine. We reached the end of the line, the inevitable decline. But now I see you complicate. Point fingers, try to implicate me in sealing your fate. Cause the truth is always harder on the heart. The truth is we were doomed from the start. We were doomed from the start. We were born to be apart. We were doomed from the start. So it's no use to pretend that this didn't have to end. And please don't try to be my friend. Because there's two lives here at stake. Don't repeat the same mistake. Pull the emergency brake. Cause the truth is always harder on the heart. The truth is we were doomed from the start. We were doomed from the start. We were born to be apart. We were doomed from the start. Cause the truth is always harder on the heart. The truth is, oh, the truth is, we were doomed from the start. We were born to be apart. We were doomed from the start.
Right on. That's a fun one. That's great. It almost seems like the drummer was channeling Ringo a little bit there, especially in some of the fills. Ooh, I cannot hear you.
Yes, I was muted. Sorry. I'm glad you caught that. The Ringo
Good.
vibes.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I had him double the drums. We just used
Right.
the one kick drum and then panned two drum
Right.
kits. And it's hard with these university trained musicians. I had to kind of tell them to slop it up, get it a little
Yeah.
looser.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a fine line between rigid and linear.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of get a little sloppy there on the drums.
Nice. Well, yeah,
Total
definitely.
Ringo vibes.
You definitely achieved that. That's great. I think it's really interesting using a the metaphor of this, of human connection dissipating, being a horrific thing, even if it's something that should happen, let alone if it's something that shouldn't.
Yeah, just
That's
kind of
very
put
cool.
that idea to its extreme
Right.
there.
Um, and speaking of ideas, is there anything, we'll get to a couple more tracks before we conclude here, but what is there anything that you as an artist, your voice, what would you like to use with your voice on big music and your big music moment today?
I think if someone likes my music and likes what I have to say, I've been trying to make more of an effort to kind of connect my social and political values to my music, but I also don't want to speak over the voices that really need to be heard
Right.
as someone who is trying to be an ally. So what I want to say is Black Lives Matter, obviously, and you will find me out there at City Hall or the Hall of Justice. We have a huge, horrible police brutality situation in LA, and it's nothing new. And if you follow my Instagram, you're gonna get a lot of politics. That's what I'll say. And anyone who knows me knows where I stand on these issues and what my views are. And just as I try and you know kind of elevate myself publicly with my music, I am never going to compromise my voice. Never going to stay quiet about things that I care about.
Excellent. Excellent. I think that's an amazing message, and you're right. It's all of our
It
voices
used to
collected.
be people would complain when an artistic figure
Hmm.
would say something about what they believe, and now it's like if you don't,
You too got a
now
lot of criticism for that. The early,
right,
back like probably eight,
that's
9 years
true.
ago. They were
And now
people.
now it's like if you don't do that, they used to say like just go back to making songs, and now it's like if you're trying to just do that,
Yeah,
to me you can't. It's not something you can separate, and a lot of my political heroes are also musical figures.
right.
One of them is Phil Oakes, protest singer of the '60s, was a huge influence on me both musically and in educating me, opening my eyes politically and historically.
Amazing.
And I just think they're connected. Yeah, it's important to keep them that way.
Right. Yeah. The Woody Guthrie,
Exactly.
didn't start
It's
with
a
them,
whole
but that was
lineage. Yeah.
a big part of that part of our social movement. So
Right.
amazing. Well, speaking of music, let's hear a couple more songs.
All right. I'll do two more. This is also from the upcoming record. This is kind of a dark narrative cinematic song called How Does It End? When darkness falls, where do you go? I always wonder, I never know. You turn the corner, round the bend. Where does it start? And how does it end? me changes, shaking hands. You'll take all you can withstand. A frozen angel made of ice. Your melting is a heavy price. When darkness falls, where do you go? I've always wondered, I never know. Now moving right along, I will end with one of my only kind of upbeat numbers. Let me just tune it real quick. But this is a song called Stick It Out, and it was the lead single from my last album, Summer Cold. And I think it's a sentiment that for me kind of always applies, but I think it maybe it'll connect with.
So summer
what
cold,
we
the
are
sentiment
going
is it's the summertime, but it's still
Hmm?
aha. So the summer cold sentiment is about it's summertime and then but it's still cold. It's
Yes.
like it's the contrast. Like a
Depression doesn't change with the seasons.
aha.
Yeah.
Got it.
But this one, I wrote this right at the eve of my gap year, and that was a time of a lot of turmoil and reflection. And so this one's kind of about trying to stay positive in the face of that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Here we go. A fly in this fly paper bed, been up for days. Toes up to my head, a general malaise. Still I'm gonna get to the bottom of this if it makes me blow my top. Lead me to the lever that will make all of this stop. I'm gonna stick it out for however long it takes. I'm gonna stick it out till my mind and body break. I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it out. Cut the tree down to the root just to see where it starts. Evidence I can't refute, point to a broken heart. And still I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, yeah. Uncover the cause, the remote control that alternates between rewind and pause. I'm gonna stick it out for however long it takes. I'm gonna stick it out till my mind and body break. I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it out. my mind and body break. I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it, I'm gonna stick it out. And that is Stick It
Those
Out.
two amazing songs. Two
Thank you.
amazing songs. That's great. I love the last one, especially knowing what it's about. Sticking it, the perseverance it takes to overcome all kinds of things, especially those internal, is one of our biggest challenges. So it's really amazing.
Thank
Um,
you. Yeah.
Thanks for being with us, man, as always, and
My
good luck
pleasure. Thank you for
on the
having me.
release of the record. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again here soon, and I can't wait for it. And thanks for sharing the video. That was the first for us here, and so I'm glad it was with you. And thanks again. We'll see you soon, man.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. That was Mason Summit, everybody. We're looking forward to a great show tomorrow with Lauren Davidson at 5 p.m. Pacific will be joining us, and it's going to be a great show. And as always, just know that we at Big Music stand with Black Lives Matter, and you can check our social for the concrete steps that we're taking as a company to address issues of racism and social justice. And we also feel that music is a big part of that. And we feel that musicians of all stripes, sizes need to hear their voices broadcast. And we all need to understand and take part in the messages of each other. So anyway, join us tomorrow. Thanks for being here. And as always, live to listen. Thanks, everybody.